Welcome to my 1961 Chrysler New Yorker. As with every cool thing that's ever stumbled across my plane of existence, there's a story here, which I'll tell in a bit, but for now, some problems. She doesn't start. She doesn't stop. Oh Jesus, there go the brakes. There goes my house. And frankly, she doesn't like me very much. Ow! Oh, it's everywhere. Got a 3-ton car and a 2-ton jack. Gonna slip in some cardboard so it doesn't make a scratch. Gonna lift it up high to remove the bias ply because the brakes don't work and I'm probably gonna die. Oh good, my wife pre-called the ambulance. Damn good woman, that one. This is lighter than I thought. According to Google, this 19-foot boat only weighs 4,200 pounds. And a half ton of that is that massive big block powertrain. Makes you wonder what the rest of the car could possibly be made from.
Oven tempered for flexible strength. Reynolds wrap.
I dare not use a metal screwdriver on these factory original hubcaps. Do I? Nailed it. Something just looks off about these wheel studs. Today I found out before I fucked around, which is out of character for me. The driver's side wheel studs are reverse threaded. I like Chryslers, man. Same reason I like my wife. Just so pretty and weird. This feels so wrong. Rather than schlep my entire socket set over here. Fractions. Who the hell is a 1 1/16 impact socket? Not me. Don't listen to what any tool snobs tell you. You can absolutely use chrome sockets on an impact wrench. Just make sure you have the right PPE. There's no star wheel adjuster to retract on these shoes. It's a Chrysler, so by law it has to be special. It has these 7/16. Where are you? There you are. These 7/16 cams that you rotate. I think they're way easier. I'll show you how they work. "65 years old, been sitting for 7, and I don't even need a puller. Easiest drum brakes ever." Here's the other side of that neat brake adjuster. As you turn it, this off-center cam turns and pushes the shoes out. I Googled forever to find out which way to turn it and never found a consistent answer, and now I know why. It depends on which side of peak lift you're on, which way you turn it to retract the shoes. I like this 1,000 times better than those stupid goddamn star wheels. Those crazy bastards really did use fractions for everything. Learn this trick from the smartest guy on YouTube. Fire cloth engaged. Maybe a little too much heat. Thank you, Vice Grip Garage. Boy, do I hate doing that. But it works. These wheel cylinders are trashed. Off to the parts store.
Hey, groovy guy, I'm looking for a
wheel cylinder
for my
61 New Yorker.
If you need hard-to-find parts, it doesn't matter what model or even what decade your car is from. Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Getting my ass kicked by a car is a great way to spend an afternoon. Oh, this is for me. Old people candy. You might be wondering why someone new to antique cars wouldn't have started with something easier, like a 55 Chevy. Well, this girl and I go way back.
China.
There, fixed forever. I've known this car's previous victim since I was a kid. I have no memory of how we met, but I used to watch her kid, and one time I came over and this beauty was sitting in the driveway being washed or detailed, or now that I think back on it, they were probably trying to get these stupid brakes working. I said, wow, is this a 300G? Which, if you know old Chryslers, is a very, very good guess for a pissant kid. I think she was pleasantly surprised that I knew roughly what it was, but the truth is, I Googled it first. A man who is always honest never has to remember what he says, but sometimes a well-executed lie goes a long way too. I didn't actually know a damn thing about it, but now I was in too deep and I was studying fan club pamphlets, browsing forums, and watching videos about Jay Leno's on YouTube and genuinely falling in love with these underappreciated beasts. They're so badass. Published top speed of 131 miles an hour, don't you know? Back when the Corvette only did 128 and the fastest car in the world only did 151. Fast forward a decade and I wanted something cool to take my bride to the wedding venue in. The owner was always unflinchingly generous, so in my mind, there was only one person to ask. We got 2 inches of rain that night, which was excellent luck for my marriage, but terrible for this thing's ignition system. It barely made it home, stalling up every hill and at every intersection, in the dark, in the rain, with my new wife in the car, on my wedding night. It's called trauma bonding, and it makes a terrible basis for a long-term relationship. That was 7 years ago still, and it was basically the last time she was properly driven. Issues just kept cropping up. Her dad was the chief mechanic, but age and distance made repair visits more challenging than they used to be. Like a member of the family, the owner just wanted this thing to be free, loved, and given the attention it needed. Now, any buyer with a brain would part it out. These two-door New Yorkers are made of hen's teeth, and those cross-ram intakes are pretty special too. So basically, it's worth more in parts to the 300 collectors than it is as an intact New Yorker. Parting out a car is killing it forever, and I guess since her sentimental value exceeded the actual value, and since I had the space and tools and she knew my heart would be in it, I was made an offer I couldn't refuse. Maybe someday, my sons can take it to their weddings, if this jack stand doesn't give way and kill me first. Vice grip garage trick. 75% effective. Goddamn. Had a local shop make me up a new line on the spot. $20. Use your friends wisely. These long, beautiful eyelashes still work. I dropped my phone down into the footwell and look what I saw while I was down there. That's my master cylinder. Usually they leak into the booster, but the booster is all the way up there, conveniently located to make the reservoir impossible to access. It's actually a pretty interesting setup. The booster adds power assist by pushing backwards against the top of the brake pedal, which then uses a fulcrum lever setup to give the master cylinder down there what for. So it's nice that my booster was spared, but the beautiful Parisian blue paint on my firewall was sadly not. This label clearly says, do not bench bleed it or you will damage the cylinder. The manual says you must bench bleed the cylinder. I guess I'll meet him in the middle and just gravity bleed it in the car. Oh yeah, I don't know who's firmer, me or this brake pedal. Now that I know she'll stop, let's see if I can make her go. I swear to God, if this thing doesn't even have spark, I'm just going to give it away to the 30,000 subscriber. Sorry guys, spark's good. Current issue is no fuel to the carbs. The pump looks new. But take a look at the tank. It's all full of pinholes. I'm told this tank was force-fed metal chains or something and then shaken around and coated inside with something. Diarrhea, apparently. But for $300 brand new from our friends and allies in Taiwan, sold! Great chance to review Harbor Freight's new ultra-low profile creeper. You know, it's really not so bad once you're under here. Nice thing about old cars is every damn thing under here is steel, so stick your light to whatever you want. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off these two nuts. The tank's going to fall on my face. I'll cut this line and put an electric fuel pump in. The overall scale of this car is just ridiculous. But it does mean that the entire 5-foot-long gas tank is completely aft of the rear differential, the exhaust, the suspension, everything. Literally 2 nuts and I'll have this tank out. Ow! Oh, nuts everywhere. That's bad gas. I have bad gas. I realize this may be detrimental to your entertainment value here, but I think I accidentally bought the right part the first time. This might be easy. Previous owner said she never could trust the fuel gauge. Not sure why. Probably just a loose wire or something. Why am I even doing this? Curiosity, I guess. Before I bother putting in my clean, pristine Taiwanese gas tank in, let's try a 20-foot-long 80 psi snot rocket to clear out the lines. Got my Made in China fuel filter. Got my Made in China fuel fittings. And, in a rare moment, let's just say I'm spoiling myself, a Made in USA, assembled in USA name brand $80 fuel pump. This T-fitting comes from the tank and feeds both carbs. That pump should send fuel spurting out. It does not. Maybe that mechanical fuel pump is clogged. I don't know if that's a thing that happens to mechanical fuel pumps. Still nothing. I proved to you that that hose has an uninterrupted straight feed to the fuel tank, a feed I just cleared out like spicy Indian food. So what gives? I've lost patience. Now we got fuel to the carb. Let's do the right thing and not clean any of that gas up and give her a rip. She's galloping hard, but she wants to go. I'm taking another lesson from Vice Grip Garage. Got my leaky fuel container. Gonna sit that right on top of my battery for safety. And I'm gonna pour some True Fuel straight down the yap, into the bowl vents until the accelerator pump starts pumping something. Hopefully that's enough to start it and move it into the bay with a lift. Don't worry, that's normal. I was told never to use this stuff, but the can says I should use this stuff. Why would the can say to use it if I wasn't supposed to use it? She's running. Not sure if it's running on starting fluid, gasoline, or good intentions. Probably good intentions. The bowl's empty. She drank it like a big-finned, carbon-spewing Santa Claus. Batteries decided to go night-night. Ow! That's not supposed to be hot. That's a loose connection right there. So I've got good spark, no fuel through the main line, even though it blows clear. This carb pukes gas all over my comically long and supposedly rare intake runners, and the other carb doesn't fill at all. If this had a mower deck and said John Deere on it, I'd say the float valves are all screwy. But this isn't a John Deere. Regardless, based on the coating of honey glaze on these old Carter 4 barrels, I'd say it's time for a rebuild. Hey Siri, play some royalty-free 60s music. I didn't make a tutorial on that one. I don't waste time with tutorials unless I think I can do a better job than what's already out there. And I'm not the one you want giving antique car advice. You ever pick a big scab in one unbroken piece? Oh yeah. The twins are rebuilt with a moderate amount of confidence. I've got my fuel line that feeds them going straight to my Milwaukee M12 fuel pump. Fuel-powered pump. Why are all my alligator leads red? What happened to the black ones? This is so impractical. This is so confusing. These Milwaukee batteries are nasty bastards, and when you short them out, they throw straight-up lightning bolts. Right next to a gas can. So, that's good. Looks and sounds like we got it. Driver's side accelerator pump, check. Passenger side accelerator pump, check. Boogity boogity boogity. Let's go racing. So close. I see oil pressure, I think. Dark in there. Gonna have to fix that. Dare I push the button? Probably should have made sure these were tight first. I was just so excited. she's up here. Who was president when this was changed last? If you use your cordless ratchet for oil changes and oil gets in there a lot, take it apart and clean it. Makes it slip and fucks it up. Got this old antique snap-on oil filter wrench from a yard sale, and it does not fit any car I own. I have a feeling, though. Oh yeah, now I can keep it. My new filter, it's in the driver's seat up there. Every goddamn time. Racing oil. More zinc than red meat and slicker than an Italian politician. For off-road use only. Brake cleaner works better than this carb cleaner, but you really got to worry about friendly fire. That brake cleaner destroys everything. I didn't have the heart to stick that rusty old sender back in. She's a lady. This looks important. Yes. This is the way. Let's test out the gauge together. All right, that's full. This should be half. And this should be empty. This hanger has a bunch of threads cut off. Ominous. God damn it. I never think I'm gonna need safety glasses. I always need the safety glasses. Ow! Just start. Alright, I'm gonna get one thread started. See if I can hook it up. Probably not. She gonna be tight. Yeah, figured. Ow! Could really use a third hand. Ow. Gotcha, bitch. Gas tank installed. I had to make this big loop to fit the filter in here, which drives the OCD part of me nuts, because look at those nipples. They would have lined up perfectly for a straight shot. The outlet of the pump goes to the hard line, and I want to figure out why it won't pump to the front. Corn belongs on the grill, not in your gas tank. Got my hard line dumping straight into this gas can. Got my battery hooked up per NHRA guidelines, running under the car to the pump, and if I ground the black wire to the chassis, we should have flow. Holy smokes, she's loud. At least you can tell it's running. Bupkis. Okay, the pump definitely works. And now I've got a siphon that won't stop. It's exhaling like a French bulldog on a hot July afternoon. So about 25 feet of braided fuel hose and 10,000 Harbor Freight zip ties, and I was halfway through bypassing the whole goddamn thing, and look what I found. Turns out the hard line is two pieces connected by this scrap of rubber hose, which is swollen almost completely shut.
I have a narrow urethra.
Also, if any of you are smoking right now, could you put it out? I replaced that 3 inches of hose. I see skies of blue, clouds of white. She fired right up, but I have to let this engine warm up for like 10 minutes before she'll pull out on the main road without stalling. Very cold-blooded, it seems. Might mess with those idle screws. I don't know. I should probably enlist the help of a graybeard to help me learn to dial these carbs in. I can tune a chainsaw, but this car has 4 adjustment screws for one engine. How are you supposed to get them perfect? Pulls like a train, by which I mean lots of torque, but not much movement. It's supposed to be close to 400 horsepower, but I'm not feeling it. Curious what the drivetrain losses are on a 3-speed cast iron torque flight. The brakes stop great, but they do take a firm hand, or foot. A little underpowered, I'd say. Unlike the steering, dangerous lack of feedback here. If I weren't watching the front corners, I would have no idea what the front end of this car is even doing. My wife's 20-year-old Lexus ES feels like a race spec Miata compared to this. She still pulls like a train from a roll, but it's starting to stumble and burp and buck if I gun it from a standstill. It gets worse as it gets hotter. I pulled over to take some thumbnail pictures and left it running. Never considered the possibility that would be a problem. But it's 85 degrees and humid and she's getting hot. Just sitting here. Time to boogie on home. Shit. There's coolant gushing from the glove box. Almost home, girl. Alright, the coolant leak has stopped by itself somehow. Oh, Jesus. There go the brakes. There goes my house. Come on. Too bad there wasn't a cyclist. I mean, good thing there wasn't a cyclist in the way. F me. Gonna back it up with the parking brake half on. The $400 heater core decided to blow a hot load all over poor Betty Boop's face. At least the coolant is super f***ing rusty. Brakes and cooling are nice to haves, I'll get to them. But this Astrodome, that's a need to have. I think this dimmer rheostat, it's full of sand or something. Listen. It works, but you gotta flick it just right. I just cheated. I bypassed the rheostat dimmer, so it just gets full power with the taillights. Bypassed that piece of junk completely. The lights are steady now, but they fade out after a while, I noticed. However, this part of the project is fully in my wheelhouse, and after that disaster of a test drive, I'm gonna relax in my wheelhouse until my heart rate goes down a bit. Here's the supply for the Astrodome. Just a transformer, a couple resistors, a big bulging cap, and an oscillator. Take a wild guess which one is the problem. This takes a 12-volt DC input and outputs 300 volts AC. I've barely got half of that, and it's falling by the second. Good as new. I mean, probably. I'll take it. When your dad told you that old cars used to be easy to work on, it's called rose-colored glasses. Come on. Hey Siri, turn off the workshop lights, please. Now we're glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. And though it's cold and lonely in the deep dark night, heater core bypassed. Fuck the heater. I'm betting my future on global warming anyway. This pressure tester is easily top 5 Harbor Freight tools that suck the least. Highly recommend. There you go, see? I told you. I didn't even know this was leaking. Nothing like solving problems before they pop up.
2 hours later.
Test complete. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I had a spare electric fan from my Solera, so this is a 61 Chrysler with a Toyota fan in it, and a Japanese Denso relay controlling it. The war ended 80 years ago, guys. You gotta let it go. Especially since this drops the water temp from 220 to 180 in 30 seconds. That, plus a good CLR flush and some fresh ice cube juice, should take care of the cooling problem. Figured out the brakes. She ain't got no fluid in her. This plug in the master cylinder was dripping. It was super tight, and I didn't even forget the sealing washer. This time. I think the hardest part about keeping these old cars going is going to be relying on offshore replacement parts. It's Theseus's land yacht. How many Chinese, Mexican, and Taiwanese parts can you install before it's no longer an American car? Yes, I know Mexico is technically America too. Bunch of geography teachers in the comments. Here's a question. Who put this fly in here? Alright, the leak is fixed and the brakes work great again. The cooling system is no longer leaking, and it has a little bit of extra airflow to boot. The Astrodome works reliably. And I think I figured out this 413's low RPM bucking and complete inability to pull out of the driveway cold issue. The vacuum tee on this brake booster was rubbing on the driver's side choke rod. and looked like it had been for a while. So this carburetor, which actually feeds that side of the engine, wasn't choked. It's carbureted, so I knew this thing had to have a choke, but it's automatic, so I never had to learn how it worked until it didn't. There's a thermal spring down in the intake that either relaxes or contracts when it gets hot. I'm not sure which. Anyway, sometimes it would choke, but then it wouldn't unchoke, which is why it was stumbling off the line when it was warmed up. It's also why I was getting 4 miles to the gallon. That can't be normal. She drinks premium, so please, for the love of God, don't let that be normal. Anyway, I redid the plumbing with some synthetic airline I stole from work. Super tight. Doesn't even need a clamp. And now it fires right off at any temperature. I think she's sorted for now, and I'd dearly love to take it for a drive. Wait. There's one more thing we have to do. Chlorinated brake parts cleaner de-yellows white wall tires. Found that out by accident when I was doing the brakes. And if you use enough of it, you start getting dizzy. Real dizzy.
Thanks for watching.